All right, this is for all the sellers and buyers out there. This is my market update for November 1st, 2022. You just want to know what's going on in the market. You don't want a 20-minute video. Here's my quick down and dirty on what's going on in the real estate market. If I look at Massachusetts, Worcester County, pretty much any county, county to county, here's the general trend I am seeing. The general trends I am seeing are that the total number of sales are down between 13 and 16%, more so for condos than single families, which makes sense with the rising interest rates. Condos are, more so something that first-time home buyers consider purchasing, and the interest rates are actually really affecting first-time home buyers. They're pushing a lot of first-time home buyers out of the market. So we're seeing a reduction in total sales volume. I expected that. As far as number of properties available on the market this year versus last year, we're seeing an increase of about 10%. Some counties a little higher, some counties a little lower. We're on average seeing about a 10% increase in the total number of properties available. The average price is still up over 10% across the board this year versus last year. So if you were selling last fall versus this year, you're still getting more money for your house. The days in the market are actually slightly less than they were last year. So properties priced well are still selling. The average price is coming down slightly. That means if you were selling in the spring, I'm sorry, that market's gone. The overinflated bidding wars, you're not going to have them anymore. However, if you look at, we should have sold last fall versus this fall, I don't think it really matters to you. You're going to get the same price you would have gotten last fall. You may not have gotten the price that you got this spring, but you are going to get the price you expected to get last fall if you price your property right. On the buying side, do I expect to see a lot of huge reductions in prices moving forward? No. And the reason being is that the inventory would have to get much higher. We'd have to have a large increase in the number of properties available on the market for it really to start getting sellers competing with each other and constantly chasing each other to find the buyers. I don't see that happening. So what I do see is as we move into the winter months, some more deals available because some sellers will get fairly aggressive on price. It's still going to be a better price for them than it was last fall, probably, because 10% in reducing the average sale price that's already up 10% down to even to what it was last fall, it's still going to take a lot of work. It's still going to take more inventory. That's obviously, the more inventory that comes on, there's buyers still waiting. So some of those properties will just go quickly. That's why I don't see anything that's going to change our inventory in Massachusetts and definitely in Worcester County. There's not going to be an major exodus of people out of home ownership. Foreclosures are not going to happen fast enough where they're going to flood the market. There's not people moving out of the area. There's actually more and more jobs and companies coming into the area because it's still affordable. And when you look at the affordability scale versus other areas in the country, you look at companies that are tech companies, California versus Massachusetts and central Massachusetts in particular, it's still probably a better choice to locate your company in central Massachusetts. So there's still companies moving in. If you don't see this or believe it, just start following the Worcester News and the Worcester Business Journal and some of the Chamber of Commerce stuff that goes on. You'll see there's constantly new announcements of companies coming into central Massachusetts. So what does this all mean? This all means for a buyer that stay steady. Buy a house if you can afford a house. Yes, today's interest rates are not what you ideally would want. There's going to be opportunities in the future at some point in time to refinance. If you can afford the home and you want to be in a better place to live with your family, or for you, if you're renting your first home, it's always better to own. Long term, it's always better to own. That's never going to change. So stay the course. Buy the house if you find the right house, and there will be some decent deals this winter. Some sellers will be a little bit more nervous than others. Sellers, if you're looking to sell, it's still a good time to sell. You're still going to sell your home for more than you did last year. Do you have to be careful on price? Yes. Do you have to pay attention to your competition? Yes. You have to be looking at that stuff on a weekly basis. Who else is coming to the market since I put my house on the market? We're not getting offers. Do we need to reduce the price every couple of weeks? Those are the things we need to think about as sellers. Doesn't mean you're going to take a major haircut. No, not if you're smart about this. Not if you're smart about this. Pay attention to your competition. See where they're at, price accordingly. Work with an agent you can trust to determine what that list price is. So overall, yes, there are a reduction in sales. That's probably the biggest thing we're looking at right now is a reduction in the total sales. But honestly, I think that's a lot driven by the number of properties on the market and some of the pricing. If I look at the numbers and I mentioned that we have an increased number of properties on the market, about 10% in Worcester County, 8% overall this year versus last year. And our reduction in sales volume is down 13% overall, 11% in Worcester County. Then what that tells me is there's some sellers in the market that are just not getting the point. They're looking at what their house would have sold for in the spring. They're not looking at what their house would have sold for last fall, and they're not pricing correctly. Because if they were priced correctly, we'd have slightly higher sales volume because the number of properties available have also gone up. So it's about pricing correctly if you're a seller. And for a buyer, it's about analyzing and looking at what's in the market and seeing what's a good deal for you right now. Can I afford it? And buying the home that I can afford and living comfortably in it. And then having an opportunity to refinance down the road. I hope this was helpful. I'll see you next month. Talk soon.